So, as we heard in the remastered Twitch stream, dragons are getting a big revamp, and they very recently released two of the dragons that are going to be coming up. And these are ones that we kind of saw before. If you looked at the new illustrations for the core books, that is the Diabolic Dragon and the Mirage Dragon. Some of the big changes that they're going to have is the Draconic connection to spellcasting traditions is going to be updated so that everything kind of fits a little better within Lost Omens. And every dragon will be arcane, divine, occult, or primal in nature. And they will each have some backstories and something that ties them into whatever tradition that they particularly did. Now, one of the things I really want to state here is this is just a preview, and I will show a few brief images of the art. However, this art is property of Paizo. Kent Hamilton is the main artist on it. Full credit to them. This is fantastic work. I am really looking forward to seeing these more when we have in that 2-hour talk at PaizoCon, and then when we actually see the books come out. Really looking forward to see it. But let's go ahead and start talking about them. My name is Don. I'm trying to be the Sly Strategist, and let's go ahead and get into it. So the first dragon I want to talk about is the one that you could get a little preview of on the Pathfinder Player Core book. It is the Diabolic Dragon, and from what we've seen of the artwork, it really lives up to that. Kind of tattered, lots of horns, lots of spikes. It looks like it comes from hell, and it does. It has ties to hell. They draw their power from the various planes and sometimes even directly from a deity. And the Diabolic Dragons are going to be bound to the will of hell, and they serve as guardians and leaders of hell's armies, some of them reporting specifically to archdevils themselves. They can release their own fire weapon, and it is the fires of hell. And this particular fire damage that they release will even hurt burning creatures that have their own flame, such as fire elementals. It is an unholy fire. And one of the things that they kind of brought out in the particular blog post was the type of treasures these dragons are going to have. And if you happen to win against a Diabolic Dragon, the hoard you're going to find are going to be covered in piles of gems, and they're basically going to be gems that are filled with souls. So soul gems, as well as countless contracts, damning unfortunate mortals to afterlife in hell. So if you ever made a Faustian deal or a deal with the devil, you might find it in this particular lair. Now that we've kind of did a little bit about Diabolic Dragons, let's go ahead and move on to the second one that they previewed for us, which was the Mirage Dragon. Now, whereas the Diabolic Dragon really looked diabolical with the wear and the fray and the battle scars and the spikes and kind of all that it had going on, the Mirage Dragon seems a bit more regal. It is an arcane dragon that has mastered the art of illusion magic. So they're typically more powerful in magic than other dragons with stronger spellcasting abilities, and they have direct influence over magical energies and probably a little dash of supernatural abilities. Their frames are not quite as big and bulky as some of the other dragon types that will be coming out. Once again, we've only seen the Diabolic Dragon, but this is supposed to be a more lithe type dragon because they don't really use their physical force directly, although I'm sure they can, but they are more tied to magic, and they don't need the powerful bodies that other dragons use for combat. But they are still very, very, very dangerous. They have iridescent scales that can change color, and by changing color, they can provide them some type of camouflage, and they can be very stealthy. That'll be an interesting little thing to see, especially once you get towards their overall size, on how they can slink around a dungeon or within their lair and kind of do surprise attacks or stealth attacks on adventurers and the people within your party. It's going to be kind of interesting. It does have fins on their head that open up into a radiant display, captivating their foes and giving them plenty of time to get in close to their prey. So I'm personally thinking that these particular fins that they might dazzle people with might include the dazzle condition, but will also allow the dragons to cause maybe blindness or some other type of visual conditions that will really kind of mess with the party when they're trying to combat them. They also have a breath weapon that is called a hallucinatory breath that can confound or overwhelm multiple enemies at once. So the area of attack type spells are going to be in full display here. And I imagine that your will saves are going to come in pretty handy when you're dealing with a Mirage Dragon. They also have a suite of illusion spells that will still mess with your mind. So once again, I think will saves are going to be very big against Mirage Dragons. And so they can be just as dangerous as their larger cousins, is what it says in the blog post. So my guess is these are going to be a slightly smaller dragon. Mirage Dragons kind of maybe have a narcissist type complex where they love to look at their own reflections. And their hordes, and what you're going to find if you happen to defeat one, are going to be gold coins polished to a mirror shine, as well as reflective metals, large mirrors, and other treasures that line their lairs. So they are going to be things that the dragon itself, kind of the conceited dragon, the Mirage Dragon, can see itself in no matter what they do. Now, I'm really looking forward to seeing more of these dragons as we get closer to their release, as we get closer to that 2-hour speech at PaizoCon, and seeing some more elaborate drawings of these things. And oh man, I'd love to see a stat block. But we have to wait. Once again, this is just a preview. Once again, I do want to give full credit to Kent Hamilton and Paizo. They are the owners of this particular IP, and I don't want to get that twisted at all. But I am really looking forward to these things release. I do hope that maybe this, in case you didn't see the blog post yourself, lets you know that these things are coming out, and you can definitely go to the community section of Paizo's website in order to kind of keep up with news as they release it. But I hope you did like the video, and if you did, feel free to like, subscribe, or hit that notification bell as new videos come out. But regardless of what you do, I hope you have a great day and happy adventuring. Thanks.